Well, it rains, it pours sometimes, eh? It's 34 degrees Celsius out there. Crazy. This is the Galley project. I finished that outer shell. And I got the side of the cupboard on the top as well. So I just got to cut out those squares and then ferret and paint it. So I'm just doing a single layer of this 17-ounce biaxial cloth, and I just got a last little piece here. So in the meantime, I'm going to be picking up more fairing compound tomorrow. They finally have it ready for me. And then I'll be able to finish off this side here. Skinning, sanding, and getting my galley side done. And then once my galley side is done, I'll be making the doors for here too. I want to get that in there, and it'll give me kind of a way to experiment. If I don't like the door, I'll just go with a inset door painted with some hinges and, you know, traditional clasp lock like you see on a lot of boats. You push the button, it opens, and then when you close it, you push it and it locks. So I might do something like that. So we'll just first try my brainchild here and see what happens. And that's 15 pumps so far for that wall. This 17-ounce biaxial takes a bit of epoxy to fill it. It's a very thick fiberglass. It's got mesh on the back, biaxial, and then 45-degree stitched cloth in it. So it's very strong when it lays down and dries. That's not going to move anywhere. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be applying the F26 compound, and I'm going to put it in the joints, cover up here, so that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And basically skinning all of this whole area to make it smooth, ready for paint. That's all that's left to do structurally. Oh, sorry, there's nothing structurally left. That was it. So that wall is in tight. And I'm just going to make it look pretty. And I'm going to clean my tools here. Yeehaw! If you'd like to help us out, like most people, we're working on a budget. We set up a Patreon page. If you'd like to join the crew, we could use some better camera equipment. That's what we're going to largely use that for, to help keep us supported making videos. And if you also, a big help would be to comment, hit the notification button, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up if you like these videos. Thank you. I'm just getting sanded this down, got rid of the edge, and now I'm going to feather it. There were some parts that were lifted up a little bit. Same with right here, I had a little bunching, these lifted up. So I'm getting rid of all of that. And then I'm just making this smooth. I've already put 2 coats down. See, I can feel that with my finger, so I'm going to give that another little sanding. And then this is, I haven't sanded here yet. So you can see that that's pretty bumpy. But that's actually the second coat. So I'm just sort of going over it, and then I'm going to give it a paint, except for some obvious parts like down there. Another big one there. So I've got to put some more of this F26 polyester resin compound, fairing compound F26. And you mix it with MAKP hardener at about a 2% mix. There's lots of sanding. Keep going. Smoother now. Still a bit of a dip, but you can see I put quite a bit there, but it's a lot less noticeable. And then I'm going to come in and going to make this an arch still, so I think that I'm going to be good with one of the secrets is to not like make a thick wand. I had to do something here to get rid of the dip, but it's pretty thin everywhere except for where there were some transition spots. So generally speaking, I try to put it on really thin. Ready, I'm just going to put the primer down. Finished all coat, took all day. Yeah, when I guess I did about 6 layers here before putting down the PreKote. So what that means is I've actually applied the Polyfair F26 compound and sanded 6 times. It took me all day here. And then I got to the point where, okay, I'm starting to feel it's smooth, and you have a tendency to overdo things sometimes. So what I've learned, I guess, is just applying a bit of the base PreKote paint covers up all of the shaded areas and everything kind of looks the same consistent color. And then once you do that, you can more easily see where you need to sand or apply more filler, that kind of thing. So I just started applying it at this point, just so I'm not over sanding any particular areas. And I do like the Interlocks brand of paints. I've been finding them, the color's consistent, easy to work with. Even after storing the can for a while, you shake it up and give it a good stir, and it really does come together in a way that's predictable. So I appreciate that about that paint. What I might end up doing too, I find that you patch and sand, and some things you assume that it's not going to look good, but then when you do it, it's like, oh, you can't even tell. And then often you can spend time being really finicky on certain parts of it, and then it's like, you know what, you didn't really need to spend all that time on it because it would have been fine anyways. This whole boat's going to get painted, but this is the kind of the critical part right now. The other thing too is the PreKote does saturate the fibers where there's no glass, or where there's no fairing compound, and it will. Oh, see, like right there, I can see that's a problem. It's hard to tell how much. I've got to put more fairing compound there. Alright, so another layer. Now that I've got it painted, it's dry. I didn't put enough on here so I could actually see just ever so slightly the lines from the biaxial cloth. So I guess when I sanded kind of quickly here in the middle, it felt smooth to my fingers, but there's actually, I can see the lines, the grains. So it's about a 2% mix of this hardener. And, it changes color ever so slightly. If you pay attention to it, you can see it. So I normally just work it. And it changes from like a pink color to just a slightly brown pink color when you put the MAKP hardener in with this F26 fairing compound. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it just a really light skim coat. I'm just going to get rid of that. It's a little high up. That way I can, like for example, there's a few little holes here. So super light, thin, and the goal will be to go over it afterwards with my my sander and not have to spend days sanding. Just a light skim coat on top. Sorry, stopping myself from thinking and talking at the same time doesn't work, eh? So I was just saying that it by going thin, it dries fast. You put multiple layers, but just keep going. Eventually you'll get all the little imperfections out that's bothering you. I think that like drywalling, those guys are really good at this sort of thing, but it's about the same technique, so I bet you they'd be good at this kind of stuff. Patience is a virtue. Alright, so it's been about a half an hour, and you can see this is already dry. So you can take these big chunks out. So it dries pretty quick. Give it about an hour and you can sand it. Basically doing this now. Hopefully one more sand. I'm going to give it a paint again after the next sand. And I'm going to paint the counter, everything. So So I'll have a can, or what do they call that? A primer coat again. Yeah, there's still some sand up there too, so I still got a bit to do, but I'm going to take a bit of a break. And the joys of working on finishing. Finishing, it takes almost as long as building. It's like, okay, I built this in a week. It's probably a week of finishing to sanding, going, and it's hard when there's a bunch of stuff in here. So I cleared out all the cushions and stuff so I don't have to vacuum them. But you know, all my boxes are all full of sand now and everything else, so the way it goes. Acetone. Alright, so that's the primer coat. That's the first one over the patches. It's not too bad. I got one little mark there, but and the table, the countertop looks pretty good. So I left this lip on. I've got a trim piece that I'm going to stick on the front. It's like a rope thing made out of wood, so I'm going to put that on last. And but over top, I need to just still do up the back edges onto the fiberglass, so I still have a little bit more to do there. And then put a piece to bring up the other side. And then what I plan on doing is poured epoxy. I did that before on the previous Galley as an experiment to learn how it works. And it turned out really good. So basically, I'm going to take out the sink, take out the induction top, and then make sure that everything is coated so nothing can drip down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the liquid epoxy, self-leveling, and you pour it all out, and then you spray some little like faux marble kind of look, so like a little bit of gold, silver tinting and whatnot. So I think that's what I'm going to do with the countertop, or just keep it white. That's one of the two, so I might just put the bright side finish, or I might even do gel coat. I'm not sure. Maybe some ideas there from you guys to help me out. I'm going to leave it harden for a while, the primer, and run with this, but I am going to give it one more coat, and I still have to do the finishing coats on the walls and the cabinetry, but it's starting to look good. I'm not really seeing the fiberglass anymore, and I'm not seeing any strands or lines. I've got one line right there, which I got to patch, and I've got to sand that little thing. I forgot to sand one piece there, but everything else is looking good. And I'm repairing these windows. That's a coming up project. So yeah, I don't even know where to start with that one. I'm totally undecided about what to do with these windows. My neighbor is trying to convince me to keep them, just get new plexiglass, and then inset it with Sikaflex. And that's the same thing that I've been using to hold down the winches and whatnot. So I don't know, we'll figure that part out. But right now, this is there's a last look at her. It's coming together slowly. It's looking like a unit now, at least. You know, I don't have patches, and you know, the head is in there. I'm going to do that last, but I can start to finish off the outside of the head now. So I still have to put fiberglass, and then you know, build up a corner bead here. Corners get hit a lot, so I was thinking of putting a corner guard or something like that. I'm not sure yet, but anyways, that's the project. And I gotta make the cupboard doors. Lots to do.